Okay, you guys will now start problem 8-4A on page 397. And here we have Flushmate Company. They wholesale bathroom fixtures. So they are selling these bathroom fixtures to wholesale customers, but rather than selling to them on account and requiring them to pay in a very short period of time with no interest, they are financing the purchase for their customers and allowing them to pay it back over time with some interest. Okay, then if you'll notice on the chart, they give you the date the note was drawn for each of the 6 notes, the face amount or principal amount, I think is a more common term for each of the 6, the term covered by the note. Notice they range from anywhere from 30 days up to 120 days. And then they also give us interest rates on the notes, which range from 5% to 9%. And as you probably guessed, we're charging businesses with a lower credit rating the 9%, and a higher credit rating probably the 5%. Okay, so on number 1, instruction 1, it says determine for each note A, the due date, and B, the amount of interest due at maturity, identifying each note by number. Well, we'll put the due dates in on our chart here, and then we'll put the amount of interest due at maturity here. The thing to remember, you get the due dates can really be trickier than the interest calculation. The thing to remember on the due dates is do not count the day the note was initially made. So on note 1, it's dated March the 6th. The term's 45 days. So what we're going to do is just count 45 days after March the 6th. So do not count March the 6th. Do not count the day the note was drawn. So the first day on note 1 that we would count would be March the 7th. Okay, so for note 1, the number of days in March would be 25. Now, how did I come up with that? Well, the note is dated March the 6th, so we don't count that day. The first day we would count would be the 7th. So what we'd really want to know is, in March, how many days after the 6th? Well, there are 31 days in March, minus the 6 days that have already occurred, gives us 25. We're just counting the number of days in March after the 6th. Now let's come down to days in April. I can spell April, I'm just not very good with typing at times. Sorry for that. Okay. We're going, notice the term is 45 days, so we're going for a total of 45 days. So we don't need to pick up all 30 days in April. That would get us to 55. We already had 25 days in May. The total term is 45 days. So we only need 20 more days in April. And now when we add that up, equals 25 plus 20. I know this is overkill, but it comes back to 45 days, which is equal to the number of days in the term. Right? You always want to make sure this matches when you add it up, the number of days in the term. Now, people struggle with this at times, but let's talk about it. So let's talk about it again. Hang on, let me format this a little. I think that looks a little better. Okay, in March, the note was dated March 6th, so the first day we'll count would be March the 7th. Really, all we're doing there is saying how many days in March after the 6th. Well, there are 31 days total, minus the 6 days we're not counting, leaves us with 25 days in March after the 6th. Then to get to 45 days, we need to pick up 20 more days in April. So that makes our due date April 20th. April 20th. Right? Okay, now to do interest due at maturity, we'll just put in a formula. It's equal to the face amount, which was $80,000, times our interest rate, which was 0.05, times the amount of time covered by the note. Well, that's going to be 45 days divided by the number of days in the year. Remember, we said the book from the lecture video, the book uses 360, so that's what I'm going to use here. Again, on the test, you could use 365, or to be really accurate, like Banks would be, you could use 365.25 to account for leap day. So when we hit enter, that gives us $500, and that's the amount of interest due at maturity for this loan. So when this loan matures on April 20th, the customer, if all goes as planned, the customer should pay us $500 in interest, plus the $80,000 face amount. So on April 20th, on note 1 from that customer, we should receive $80,500 interest plus the principal. Okay, so let's try note 2. Okay, note that note 2 is dated April 23rd, which just so happens that's the day after my birthday. Not as fun as the day before usually for me, but still a good day. Every day's a good day, right? All right, dated April 23rd, and our term is 60 days. So our days in April, I'm just going to copy that. How many days in April after the 23rd? Well, there's a total of 30 days in April, minus the 23 we've already had, means 7 days after the 23rd in April. Okay, days in May. How many are we going to pick up there? Well, we're going for 60 days. May has 31 days. And in case you're wondering, on the final, you can't use a cell phone for a calculator. You can't use a calendar. So if you're not sure, I'm sure all of you know. But if you don't know the number of days in the months, you will have to know that to be able to work this problem. And for our purposes, assume February is 28. But I won't make it where February comes into play on your file. So, okay, we had 7 days in April after the 23rd. 31 days in May gets us to 38 days. We're going for a total of 60. So, days in June. Okay, we've got 38 so far. Right, 7 in April, 31 in May. We need 60. So here you could just say equals 60 days total minus the 38 we've already had. Means we need 22 days in June. Now let's total them up. And that gets back to our number in the term, 60 days. So that means our due date would be June 22nd. So we'll put that in up here. June 22nd. And now let's calculate interest due at maturity on note 2. Okay, it's going to be equal to 24,000 times 0.09 or 9% times the number of days in the term, 60, divided by the number of days in the year. Again, the book and I will both use 360. And that comes out to $360. So on June 22nd, from this customer, we should expect to receive $24,360, principal plus interest. Okay, I'll stop that video there. We'll pick back up with note 3 on the next video. Thank you.